Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you Monday, November 30th. The year's 2020. Let's talk trading. Losses, feedback with Walmal Part 2. Now, I guess it was last week we started this, but of course, the fastest 15 minutes in trading goes by so quickly. We couldn't squeeze it all in. But just one thing to keep in mind, these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. Walmal, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I've made core and a bunch after that, actually, and so it's been a good day. I have taken 2 losses so far today, so I guess it's good to go and talk about taking losses sometimes, but they were small losses. But that's part of trading, and I think part of that also is that do losses give you feedback? And one of the feedbacks that I've gotten over time is that, and I know this is easy to say, but, keep your losses to a minimum. It's a pretty obvious thing to say, but it's also a reality. Go in there and make sure that your losses don't deplete your account. And that's part of the reason I have my trading plan in place, is so that I go and keep myself in check. And that way you're okay. But by doing that and trading my trading plan, overall, I've made a bunch of pips today, and so I'm good to go. Even with those 2 losses, I've got 4 other trades, and I've more than made up for what I've lost.
Yeah, and I know right now we're kicking ourselves because we were both long at 30 this hour, and we just hit 67.
But at the same time, that's not my trading plan, so I can't, that's a regret thing, and I can't, I can't kick myself, because the thing is, I went and took that trade with you, and I got, about 17 pips on that trade, and then I got out, and the thing is, I got out because didn't like what I saw, and if I would have stayed in, actually I would have gone all the way back down to my entry point, or pretty close to it, within 3 or 4 points. Actually measuring right now, would have gotten in within a pip and a half of my entry point. Am I willing to go and be up 17 pips and not get out, and then go and see my profits evaporate all the way down to a pip and a half? That's not my style of trade. Now, there are folks out there that trade that way, and they're able to go and grab this, because right now, if I would have traded that way and I would have stayed in, I would have now been up, 38 pips. But that's not my trading plan. That's not how I go and trade. And, and it's, we go and say, losses, give you feedback. Well, in my sense, that would have been a huge loss. Even though if I would have gotten out with +1 pips, it would have been, in my mind, a big loss, because instead of walking away with 17 pips, which I had there, I would have walked away with only a pip. And so for me, from a psychological point of view, it would have been, I don't want to say devastating, but it certainly would have taken a big hit on my confidence. So that's why I do what I do. I minimize my losses, and part of minimizing my losses is to go make sure that I take what I can take. Earlier in the day, I went and took 2 trades where I was actually going against the hourly candle, which is not I violated a rule. I don't do that, but I was able to get a win on it on both those trades, but I also only got 2 pips on each of those trades. Actually, I think I got 2 pips and 3 pips. But it was, I've got another rule in place. If I do violate the first rule, where I'm going against the H1 candle, well, to go and make sure I don't take a loss, as soon as I see 2 pips, I bank the 2 pips. And luckily on that second trade that was similar to that, I hit the exit button, and instead of getting 2 pips, I actually got 3 pips. But that's again, I'm minimizing my losses to keep my psychology on, in the black, so to speak, keeping it positive.
Yeah, so right now, I've got the rat zone up, because there's a lot of traders, or a few traders out there that have been, writing me about the rat zone. They're having problems. And this is like a perfect example here. We're almost at the top of the hour, about 2-3 minutes to the top of the hour. And we're looking at M5 here. And you got a red candle. And it's, we're now 5 pips off that high. So the thing is, you'd be going against the H1 candle, because it's still green at the moment. And it's like one of these is like, well, if you just wait for the end of this hour, and let's see what happens. Let's see if it tries to make a new high and then reverses and comes blasting through that H1 open, which is going to be a holo, a highest H1 highest open for the day, I do believe. Yeah, it's definitely going to.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So when we look at that, it's like, why take the risk?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We got to go with, not just take trades for the sake of taking trades. We got to be taking trades because they make sense to take them, and people have asked, I know in the forums and such, why are you selective on certain trades? And this is the thing I can't really quantify it as much as I'd like to be able to. I've had lots of discussions with TRO over this. I wish I could go and quantify all of this, but there are certain things that you just do because you just know that it's the wrong thing to do, and sometimes you can't actually write a statement. This is the reason why. And that's where my trading has got to improve, because if I can't go and describe what I'm doing, then I don't fully understand what I'm doing, and that's the part of my trading that I need to improve on, because I'm sometimes doing some things, and I've had TRO go and say, "Why did you do that?" Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Just it's a gut feeling sometimes, and we don't trade on gut. We trade on a system, and that's what I need to be able to systematize.
Exactly. And if you see right here, price just about exited Friday's rat zone, but now it's just pushed back up from this level right here. So once again, somebody wanting to try and rush this trade, you're going to get your fingers burned probably more often than not. You got this huge green candle here. Now we're starting a new H1. You see, now it's red. And the tendency would probably be to jump in. Now, you could have a very, tight stop of about 6 pips or so, and that's okay. But it's one of these things where, let's see, does it make a new high? It's pushing up at the moment, and it's just about to make a new high. Now I'm going to switch over to the H4 chart here for a second. You see this big H4 candle? This is what we refer to as a steamroller or a freight train. Because usually if you see a big candle like this, then the next candle is probably going to continue. So you had a red H4 followed by a huge green H4. So there's usually going to be some continuation here. And you can see that sometimes, from the past. So like right here you had a big red, but you see that push, there was a little continuation and it turned. Here's another big red, continuation, and it turned. So once again, that's why you take your pips when you can. So here going up, you had a big green, it continued, and then it turned. So right now you can see here it's pushing up, but now it's below that previous H1 high. So you want to see, is it going to close above it?
Yeah, and the other thing too is that our daily range, at least on my charts, is only 64 pips at this point in time. And typically we have days that are at 100 pips, or pretty close to it on the pound dollar.
Right.
So, I'm not so sure that the expansion is not over yet. It may very well be. I mean, we've also had days that have only been 50 pips. We even had days that have been only 40 pips. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And that's the thing about trading, is that, we're basically doing our trades based off of statistics. So I'm sitting there looking at, it's only 64 pips. There's a good chance that thing is going to expand. Now, whether it's going to expand at the top or the bottom, I don't know. I have no idea. But it probably is going to go and expand some more. So for me, I wouldn't necessarily want to take a rat trade here, or if I do take a rat trade, I'll take a rat trade and only try. I'm just going to look for that good setup for getting into that trade, and be very quick on closing it out, because there's a good chance I could pick up 2, 3, maybe even 5 pips, and it turns around, runs back up, and extends the day a little bit more.
Exactly, because I'm looking at the 5-minute. I switch back here, and you can see, whoops, why does it keep doing that to me? right here on the pound dollar, this was an inside bar right here. And see, it's broke that inside bar a second time to the north. And so for reversal trade, this is the H1 open. There's the current low of this H1. And then there's the current low of the previous M5 candle. So somewhere in here, this is where you're going to have, you might have some problems, but if it breaks this low, then it more than likely could continue down. And as you can see, it's pushing up. So this is where you traders who are trading the rat, this is right here. You know, if you just took another loss, this is telling you something. It's telling you that you're not reading the chart. In other words, maybe you've zoomed in. It's like playing chess. If you only look at the 4 squares in the middle of the board, you're going to get your clock cleaned because there's a lot going on. So the same thing here. Yeah, this is the only active candle. But then, you know, as Walmal just said, you know, chances of this range extending for the day, it just happened because we know that the range is usually bigger than this. And you can see here we're getting into that territory where we broke out of the previous day's high. And you know, on those previous day high breaks, they also put in a boatload of pips. So you can see here now we're at 78 pips, which is only the 9th percentile. So yeah, this could definitely move some more.
Yes. And right now on my chart, we're about 5 pips away from breaking the high from Friday. You know, so you know there's another potential trade there as well. And it could either go and break it and continue this extension up north, or it could turn around and come back down. I don't know.
Oh, it didn't break Friday's high?
No, on my chart anyway, missed it by about, it's right now about 4 pips away from the high.
Okay.
So we're real close, you know. So, you know, what's going to happen here is, but the thing is if we didn't break it by 4 pips and we start looking at it and start seeing a entry for a short, it may be a good place for an entry for a short here, because that may tell us that, hey, Friday's high, it's got something there that's holding it back, because again, Friday's high is almost identical to Thursday's high, which is also almost identical to Tuesday's high. They're all at that same level of 97.8. So because of that, you know, there's a good chance that we then we could go and, you know, have, this is the high for the day, that we're not going to get any place any further north than this. I don't know. We don't know until it happens, right?
Right. And we're at the psychological 75 level too right now.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can see here, once again, you had this big green H1, and so there was some momentum, and there's the follow through. So it's just something, you know, the feedback of getting a loss in the rat zone is probably, the first thing is you just have to see, were you trading against the H1 candle color? You know, were you trading against the momentum either on H4 or H1?
And you know, and you know, and the other thing is, which is the thing that I always do. I don't go back and look at the H4 candle as much as I know TRO does, but I look to the left. Okay, and if I'm on a 1-minute chart, 5-minute chart, it doesn't really matter to me that much. But I look to the left, and when I look to the left, and I see that, hey, there's a bunch of candles going in that particular direction, you know, and there are some little pullbacks and dips here and there along the way, and it looks like a healthy move up. Why would I go short on something that looks like it's a healthy move up? You know, and at the same time, if I see that, hey, we got a trouble spot that's coming up, hey, that's an opportunity. That's a place where, hey, it's got there a couple times in the past, and it just hasn't been able to break through. Now, the next time, maybe third time's a charm or something like that, or it very well may be. You know what? That's a place where there's a bunch of people out there that are saying you're not crossing this line, and I'm going to go and put up a fight.
Yeah, and you know what? So, and we're going to have to end the video because the fastest 15 minutes in trading is over. So, fellow traders, just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks.